Just because a soldier comes home does not mean the war is over.
Veterans suffering from post-war trauma sometimes become violent without proper treatment.
In Milwaukee, wounded Iraqi vet Ben Sabina is charged with shooting and killing his wife, Wauwatosa police officer Jennifer Sabina. So what can be done to prevent tragedies like this one?
Courtny Gerrish investigates what more some say needs to be done to save soldiers from themselves. Courtney?
Mike and Carol, we spoke with a local veteran about his own devastating battle with PTSD. Tonight, he shares the emotional story of his journey to hell and back and what more needs to be done for our veterans. We've seen the images. Vietnam was an ugly war, and it often didn't get much better for the soldiers when they got home.
Came back to, a country that really rather wanted it to go away.
Thousands of soldiers coming home and committing suicide and other acts of violence, not knowing why.
PTSD was not a condition, was not a recognized medical condition during Vietnam.
Today, there are treatments, but tragedies linked to PTSD are still happening, and mental illness is still very misunderstood.
We can't talk about good health unless we talk about mental health.
When I came back from Iraq in 2005.
Dry Hooch Coffee on Brady Street is a place where vets can go for some social therapy.
Get camaraderie of other people who understand. You don't have to finish a sentence. They kind of know what you're saying.
Bob Curry founded Dry Hooch in 2008 after battling with his own post-war demons for many years.
My wife had mentioned that I would slam my hands into the backboard of the bed during the night, and because I flew, I would have dreams of ejecting from the plane all the time.
Bob ignored the signs and tried to soldier through it.
There's the added problem that you've been trained just to get over it.
Alcoholism also overtook his life.
If you have severe PTSD, you're likely gonna, people talk about self-medicate. And I don't mean to use drinking as an excuse, because it's not an excuse.
Bob continued to get worse, especially after 9/11. Then one night, the unimaginable happened.
The next thing I remember is, I come to in a hospital, and I'm talking to some police officers, and I had been involved in an automobile accident where another gentleman died.
Bob was arrested and charged with homicide by intoxicated use. In the process, he finally got the treatment he needed for years and was diagnosed as being totally disabled by PTSD.
I shouldn't be alive. This other family doesn't have their loved one. So then where do I go from there?
Bob was found not guilty by reason of insanity and was institutionalized.
Unfortunately, in mental institutions, they're medicated, but they're not treated. So it's unfortunate that here, where people could get the most help, they're not getting any help at all.
Christina Finnell is with Mental Health America's Wisconsin chapter. She says more needs to be done across the board for mental health patients.
Recovery for everyone is so different and needs to be individualized.
She says in Milwaukee County, many mental institutions are downsizing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but
we want to see those savings from that decrease be put back into the community.
The hope to eventually prevent tragedies like Bob's or the Sabina murder case. Iraq war veteran Ben Sabina is accused of killing his wife Jennifer on Christmas Eve. Sabina made this testimonial video in 2010.
My experiences in Iraq were that having to watch over 50 of my friends, or good friends, die. Having to kill people, having to kill a child who tried to kill me.
Bob wishes people would have seen the warning signs of Sabina's mental state.
People are going to say they can't, you can't make excuses for something that happened. I mean, you can look at me and do the same thing. The fact is that this has happened, and some doctors need to understand what's going on.
Bob admits he lives with guilt every day, but he's doing his best to help other veterans, young and old, combat their demons before they overtake their lives.
This can't happen again to another generation.
Ben Sabina is now in the Milwaukee County Jail, and post-traumatic stress disorder could come up as a defense in his trial. If you do know a veteran suffering from PTSD, help is out there. We have a list of links on our website for people to look at.
Yeah, a very real problem.
Yeah,
it certainly is.
Thanks, Courtney.